The Winthrop School Board to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have our roll call. We are missing one of our board members, Ivy Corliss. She had something come up, and then we had Abby is out sick today. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to move 6.1, which is the approval to employ a grade school principal to write after the superintendent's report.
Okay. Good. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Winthrop School Board meeting of March 5th, 2025 as written.
So moved.
Seconded.
And all those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you for your vote. Okay, we'll enter into our first public comment section and open that up to anyone who is in the room who may like to speak. We ask that you step up to the podium. And if there's anyone on Zoom, we just ask you to indicate there. Seeing no public comments, we'll go ahead and enter into our report, starting with our superintendent report.
Good evening. I'd like to report the retirement of Norm Neal, bus driver. We wish him well in his retirement. And I want to remind the board that your next opportunity for learning will be on March 28th at 1 o'clock at the middle school to attend the town meeting. Yesterday, the administrators and I were welcomed into the second grade classrooms to observe the new reading program being implemented. And I want to thank the second grade for allowing all the administrators to kind of descend upon them. Not probably one of their favorite things to do, but we really appreciated them opening their doors to us, and we saw lots of great reading instruction taking place. The second graders were excited to be reading and learning about earthquakes. And our workshop day last Friday was filled with lots of learning by the staff, and I want to thank Megan Light for all of her hard work in organizing that day. And this evening is your time to discuss and potentially adopt the budget. If we do not adopt it tonight, we will have an additional board meeting next week at 6 p.m. We also have our community forum at 6 o'clock at the high school tomorrow night, where all administrators will be present to answer any questions the public may have on the budget. Then we will present our adopted budget to the town council on March 31st at 6. And I encourage all board members to attend this meeting. And I believe that we're going to be first on the agenda, so it should not be too late of a meeting for any of us. And after the community forum tomorrow night, the drama club will present the one-act play Exposure that they recently competed with in Yarmouth. And I hope you join me in staying around and seeing our students perform this play in the Performing Arts Center. And that concludes my report for the evening.
Does the board have any questions regarding the superintendent report? Okay, thank you, Dr. Foley. Okay, we'll head straight into our item 6.1.
Well, I'm thrilled to recommend, oh, you want to make a motion on that?
Yes,
I was just too excited, I'm sorry.
I'll entertain a motion to consider and approve to employ grade school principal for the 2026-2026 school year as recommended by the search committee. Dr. Foley.
Oh, you don't want the motion first?
Would you like?
Get the
Okay,
motion.
we'll take the motion. Yeah, now we're all confused.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, and discussion.
Right. So I'm thrilled to recommend Teresa Violet, who's here this evening, as the next principal at Winthrop Grade School. I want to thank everyone who helped out with the interviewing process and served on either the first or the second interview. We had 12 applicants, and I want to thank all of those who applied. And I believe that Teresa is the perfect person to try and fill Jolene's shoes, which are very hard to fill. Teresa comes to us with 12 years of administrative experience as a federal programs director and McKinney-Vento liaison. She also has 19 years as a teacher, literacy coach, and interventionist. As we strive to improve student achievement and literacy across the district, I think she will be a huge asset to our team. One of her references said, Mrs. Violet is a recognized leader in our district. Her leadership style is characterized by integrity, empathy, and a strong sense of purpose. She inspires and motivates her colleagues, fostering a culture of excellence and continuous improvement. I hope the board and administrative team will join me in welcoming Teresa to Winthrop Public Schools.
Okay. All those in favor? Thank you very much.
And I'd love to give Ms. Violet an opportunity to come up and just
Absolutely.
say a few words.
Good evening, and thank you so much. I look forward to building upon the great work that has been happening at Winthrop Grade School, and I look forward to this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go back to our original agenda. And I'll begin with the chair report under 4.2. So this week, the last 2 weeks, we've been pretty busy with negotiations. I was able to sit in on that second round of interviews for our new principal, Ms. Violet. And let's see, I did email the board, and I just wanted to follow up because I didn't receive any responses, but there was an opportunity from Jay to serve on the hiring committee, the new drama and theater middle school, high school teacher, because Mr. Descouliers will be retiring. We have a town meeting at the middle school this Friday at 1. I wanted to remind the board about that. And also our community forum. What's that? The town meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. This is on the 28th, not the 21st. Thank you for the correction. I do have that. Misspoke. And then the community forum, I just urge the board to be there tomorrow to show support at the high school. This is a great opportunity for the board to ask questions about the budget and to show support. Also on the 31st, the town council will be hearing from Dr. Foley. We hope to have board presence there as well to once again show support for the budget. And that concludes my chair report. So we will ask Joseph for his student representative report.
Alright, lots has been happening in the high school lately. While sports are on pause, the high school is still active. March Madness just wrapped up last week, and we're happy to see high levels of participation around the board. Seniors came out victorious and by nearly 40 points, but everybody seemed to have fun, and there were fundraisers mixed in that brought food and money for good causes. In addition, Drama Club is hosting a fundraiser for the staff member with the most money in a jar gets pie, which is exciting. But the Drama Club isn't just fundraising. As they participated in the one-night film festival, did a great job, and 2 students were able to win individual awards for their performance in the play. Luckily, the high school as a whole will get treated with a chance to watch the play tomorrow during Rambler time, and members of the public will get a chance to see the play exposure tomorrow night at 7. Parent night for spring sports took place yesterday and was a big success. All sports are super excited to get right into the season, with practices starting on the 31st of March in most cases. We have a healthy crop of people ready to come out for sports, and we're hoping to translate that into success this season. NHS is planning our yearly GMBG fundraiser, and despite being postponed, we are working on a date in the future to continue this fantastic treatment for patients. Furthermore, senior projects for NHS are finishing up, and I'm sure we are all excited to hear what our members have done. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Does the board have any questions at all? Comments? Okay, thank you. We'll head into item 4.4, our committee report, starting with finance.
Yes, so we met tonight. We went over the current budget, and right now, it looks like we're going to make it through the year, which is good news. We signed off on warrants. We did payroll 19, and warrants 18A and 18B. Ongoing mediation with bus drivers is still ongoing, so no updates there. And the current budget update for FY26 is we have a superintendent recommendation budget of 9.63% and board requested budget of 10.72%, which we'll have some discussion tonight.
Thank you, Tim. And negotiations? Sam? Yeah, that's still ongoing. We are currently in our support staff negotiations and in mediation with our bus driver negotiations. And we do have meetings scheduled, I think, or maybe not. We may not have the freedom that one support staff, so we will have some scheduled, and I'll let the board know. Okay. And policy.
Yes, we met and we will be bringing the Title IX policies to you at the next board meeting. We had adopted in the fall the 2024 versions, but now that's been rolled back and we have to go back to the 2020 policies. So we'll have discussion at that at the next board meeting, as well as a new transportation policy that we would like to adopt.
Okay, thank you very much. Our administrator reports are attached. Do we have anyone reporting on this? Okay. Does anyone have any questions from the board regarding the administrative reports or comments? Okay. And we'll open up the floor to our National Honor Society presentations. Really excited about this.
Good evening, I'm Tiff Shaw, and I'm the advisor for the National Honor Society at Winthrop High School. It's my pleasure to work with these fantastic young people. And tonight you're going to hear from 5 of them about their service projects for their senior year. And feel free to ask some questions afterwards if you have any. The first one up is Sienna Goshen.
Hi, I'm Sienna, and for my senior service project, I'm doing care packages for the homeless. It's a legacy project, meaning that other people have done it in the past, so I just wanted to continue it. And here's a few pictures of the project of just me making the bags and the finished product. And then a little bit about the project. Over the past few years, the homeless population in America has increased due to inflation and the lack of affordable housing. In Maine, I have seen the influx of the homeless population across the state in the past few years. I wanted to give back to a community that is rejected and viewed as less by society. A vast amount of negative stigmatism surrounds homelessness, leading to discrimination and negative actions and feelings towards these people. Homeless people are humans with basic needs just like we are, except they lack the resources that we have to live as we do. There are various circumstances as to why these people are forced to live unsheltered on the streets, but the fact of the matter remains they need our help. While the contents provided in these bags are not life-changing, they serve as a little reminder that they're still seen and understood. And here are a few things included in the bags, such as water, little emergency packets, tampons, fresh fruit, granola and protein bars, and then chips and other little snacks. That's it.
Wait, so you got a question?
What?
You have a question?
Monica?
How do you go about distributing them?
Well, so my dad works down in Portland, so I give him bags. So there's a lot more homeless people down in that area, so he hands some of them out, and then I just keep some other ones in my car. And my mom also has some in her car, so if I see anyone in Augusta or any other area, just pull over and hand them out.
Any other board questions? Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anne Armstrong, and my senior search project was trip to Mexico. Why I chose this as my senior service project and what I wanted to get out of it. My idea for my senior service project was to learn what it's like for our ESL students here in Winthrop and what it's like to not be able to communicate with others. I had the idea to be able to understand how it feels to have such a hard language barrier between people when I went to Mexico. I wanted to take my experiences in Mexico and try to understand what it's like for our ESL students here in Winthrop. The main focus was to try and understand how it affected the students in Winthrop High School as they started to learn our language. A lot of kids my age aren't aware of the true struggles of having a language barrier like our ESL students do here. I realized that you won't see a lot of us speaking to ESL students because of how hard it is to communicate. So my goal is to present this to other students in the community, to not shy away from trying to make them feel welcomed, no matter how big the barrier is. I learned while I was there the language barrier is scary and can make you feel nervous, and it's not being able to communicate, understand someone can be awkward to a lot of people. I know that I felt nervous when I was there because I wasn't sure what anyone was saying to me when I was there, so it was definitely a good experience. I hope to take this experience and share it at Arts and Humanities Night in April. What I did in Mexico and why I went. The Mexico trip started off through Hope Baptist Church in Manchester. As I prepared my trip, I decided that I would also make this my senior service project. I planned out questions to answer for myself as I went through the missionaries' activities every day. I helped do many activities with a lot of kids in a town called Nextipac. A lot of these families did not have a lot, but they were very happy. And I did meet a lot of families while I was there, and I got to talk about my faith while I was there. I also got to help these kids in Nextipac and teach them about God and just give lessons, and a lot of the time I played soccer with them. They really enjoyed that. I learned a lot from being there and just seeing how much they appreciate how much they have. And another thing that I also helped out with in some of these pictures was a soup kitchen. And then the outcome of my trip to Mexico helped me better understand how difficult it was to be an ESL student in Maine and not be able to communicate with people that are their own age. So I, again, hope to be able to spread this through our community and more kids at schools especially.
Any questions from the board, Monica?
Since your objective was to find out, what it felt like to be in that position and what might make other people feel more comfortable, I wonder if you could reflect on any experience you might have had that, what an encounter with somebody that made you feel more comfortable, even though you didn't speak the language.
Definitely. There's a lot of times, I think the one that was really helpful was the soup kitchen people. A lot of them are homeless, and they knew you didn't speak their language, so they would really use their hands to signal to things, and I think that kind of made it a little bit better to be able to oh, they know. They're not they're not going to be mean to you that you don't know a language, and they're going to try to help you understand what they're saying. And a lot of the times, a lot of people taught you what certain words were and how to speak to each other, so it made me feel a lot more comfortable with that.
Thanks. Any other board questions or comments? I am curious, when you were teaching them, you talked about you teach them about your faith. Is there a translator present to
Yes.
facilitate that?
Yes, the missionaries translated everything for us. They speak great English, so they were able to translate it from English to Spanish.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, hi, my name is Laura Miller. Obviously, I'm a member of the National Honor Society here at Winthrop High School, and for my senior service project, I decided to do something that hits very close to home. One of my good childhood friends was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer as a little baby. She's the youngest out of 3 in her family, so as you can imagine, it was a really tough time for them. For any patient with something as severe as cancer is a really long road to recovery. So seeing his baby sister spending what is supposed to be her childhood in the hospital, Charlotte's older brother Nick decided he wanted to make a difference. It started with just their hometown in Connecticut. He asked everyone in their school if they could take a day to wear their PJs to school. This was to support all the children in hospitals that have to wear their PJs every day and they don't get to go to school. Along with wearing their PJs, he asked if everyone could donate $1 that he would then give to the Connecticut Children's Hospital to fund cancer research. Now Charlotte is a year younger than I am, and PJ Day still runs strong with nearly 100% of schools in Connecticut participating. For my service project, I wanted to bring this event to me, starting here in Winthrop. On Friday, December 13th, students wore their favorite PJs to school and donated $1 or more. The money raised will be going to Barbara Bush Children's Hospital in Portland, and we raised a total of $222. My goal is that this will become a tradition at our school and hopefully other schools in Maine so they can make a difference as well. And here is my website. It just has sort of an overview of why I chose to do it. Some pictures, the actual website from the Connecticut one, and the money raised. The middle school participated too, and wasn't just the high school, and then where it's going. I chose to donate to Rambler instead of the cancer research in Augusta because I wanted it specifically to be going to children. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? Monica?
I'm a teacher, what do you expect? I'm wondering if you had an opportunity to visit any of the children's hospitals. I know sometimes when you have a mission like that, it really makes it more real and more personal when you're able to make that kind of connection.
I personally haven't. I'm going down. I've contacted someone in HR down there, and they haven't gotten back to me, but I have to go give them the money. So when I do that, I'll go down. But my mom used to work down there, so she has a lot of experience with that, and she told me like a bunch of stories, and it really hits close to home.
I bet it could be really meaningful for both the teens and for the kids,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Thank you. Any other board comments or questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Joan Corbin. I'm obviously a senior and a member of the National Honor Society at Winthrop. A little bit about me, I've played sports every season for as long as I can remember. And while you might know me from the field hockey field or the basketball court, a lot of people don't know that I'm a little bit of a nerd. I like everything STEM and space and math and all that kind of stuff. And I actually went to a space camp the past couple of summers, and I plan on majoring in aerospace engineering next year. I chose this project because when I was in 5th grade, I was a part of a STEM club, and that kind of sparked my interest in the whole topic. And I wanted to be able to bring that kind of back to Winthrop and be involved in that. So when I was bouncing around this idea with a couple of my teachers at the school, my chemistry teacher actually told me about a STEM club already going on at the middle school. And I reached out to their advisor, Ms. Kibbins, and she's been really helpful throughout the whole thing, and she has allowed me to just jump right in and run some meetings. And so what I do at the STEM Club is I make challenges for the kids to do, and then I help facilitate them actually doing it. So I started out trying to make the challenges Rambler themed, but it's hard to find a name that's Rambler themed for everything. So the first challenge we did was Rambler rubber band buses. So they made cars that were powered by rubber bands. And then we made aqua buses, which we're getting a little stretched on the names here, but they made buses or boats out of tinfoil, and we sunk them with pennies, so they tried to see how many pennies they could hold. And then they made paper chains and tried to see how much water they could pick up in a bucket. So my plan for this is to keep it going and keep making challenges and allow them to be accessible to teachers. I have slideshows for each of the challenges that can actually be shown to the group that you're doing it with, and then below has materials that are needed for each challenge, and then tips that will helping make it go a little bit smoother, or like what age groups you should do it with. And then I've accumulated a lot of kind of weird materials that I probably won't use after this year. So I plan to leave that with NHS so someone else can keep it going, or it can go to other STEM projects. That's it.
Thank you so much. Does the board have any questions or comments? Monica?
It sounds fantastic, and I think you make a great teacher. You're doing great prep for teaching.
Thank you very much.
So for my senior project, hadn't heard the term before, but legacy project, that's what this is. Library outreach. So the mission of this project is to help the Bailey Public Library become and continue to be the best version of itself, while rallying community support. With the simple question, what can I do to help, this project's foundations are born in doing whatever the library needs us to do. This includes shelving books, audiobooks, DVDs, making sure the library's books are in order, and among other things, drumming up community interest for the project. So the motivations I had for making this project is the Bailey Public Library is an important part of our town's history, and its offerings have served our community for over a decade. That says decade, but it should say a century. It's been a lot longer than that. As for my personal motivations, when I was a freshman, a senior was working on the same project, and as a member of the library, I was happy to volunteer. Now, as a proud senior member of NHS, I was remiss to see that the project had not been continued. However, such circumstances made me even prouder to revive this initiative. There's freshman beginning. So with forward thinking in mind, the community support that I have gathered and will continue to gather for this project, I hope that this project will live on and beyond my high school tenure, ensuring the Bailey Public Library remains a valued and supported cornerstone of the community. Most of my community support so far has come from me having my friends into service. However, I'm hopeful for the future, not only that my friends continue to support the library, even if not through an official project such as this, but also that this project will bring recognition to the library's offerings and inspire widespread action in people to engage with the community in a serviceable manner, ultimately creating a lasting culture of community involvement where giving back becomes second nature rather than an obligation.
Any board questions or comments? Monica?
I think that sounds terrific, and I agree. It's a resource that you should value more and should take care of. I'm wondering what are some of the ways that you've tried to get the community involved, because that can be hard sometimes. Not everybody has time or wants to make time, but what have you tried that's been successful?
So mostly just one-on-one conversations where I just talk about my motivations and really get to them to connect, not only to the see the purpose of the library, but also see how important this is to me and other members of the community. So that's one way. And then I know we have to present these at a future town meeting, and I think that will be really effective because that's how I first learned about this project when I was a freshman.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, thank you very much.
I would just like to invite you all to our school induction, which will be April 1st at 7 p.m. You can see us seniors get our stoles, and the juniors get inducted as officers and their new nephews. Thank you.
And do you have a time for that? 7 p.m.
Yeah.
At the high school.
Yes. And back.
Thank you very much, Joseph, Caroline, Lauren, Zion, and Sienna. Great job on your projects. A lot to be proud of. Okay. We'll head into our old business, starting with 5.1, the FY26 budget discussion and possible adoption.
Okay, so tonight is your time to further discuss the budget, and we're here, the administrators are here to answer any of your questions. We might have a couple of administrators on Zoom joining us tonight too. This budget establishes the baseline budget that was previously talked about, addresses safety needs, and works to increase student achievement. The last board meeting, you requested information about what it would look like if we reinstated the 2 teachers at the grade school. So in your board packets for both scenarios, the one budget is labeled the superintendent recommended budget, and that results in a 9.63% increase to the expenditure line. On the other side, we've included the revenues, and in order to lessen the tax impact, we are going to use $200,000 from the capital reserve account as a revenue source. And that's because, as you know, we have no money to use from the undesignated fund balance because, as you remember from the recent audit, it showed that we ended the year with literally no money. Then you also have a sheet in your board packet reinstating the 2 teachers from the grade school, and that will result in a 10.72% expenditure increase. And then additionally, as requested, I reviewed the transportation budget again. I have taken the electricity cost for the electric buses and moved to Joel's lines with other electricity costs, but I saw no other lines that I could decrease at this time. I think it's important to remember that this budget establishes a baseline budget, and in future years it will be much easier for the board to compare year-to-year spending. And that really concludes my updates for the budget, and we'll turn it over to you, and we're here to answer your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Foley. Does the board have any questions to start off? I'm curious, I've raised this question before, with the whole Lion buses and the electricity costs that I don't know what that amounts to, but I've asked, brought it up, to maintain the buses out of charge. Versus having them up. I know that there's a warranty issue. I just didn't know if it was substantial or.
I don't think, as long as we're not running them, that it's
Okay.
too substantial. It may be $200 to $300, I think, a month. Joel, I'm looking to you whether you can nod and confirm that or come to the podium. We did put in there $15,000 just to cover our bases in case they're drivable and we're charging them on a regular basis. And then I'll also have Joel talk to what he recently discovered since the last board meeting about the electricity cost.
Sure.
And so he did move that money to his line because I don't think if we're not running them, and based on history, they're not going to run for long. But we do have an increase in electricity costs now, so this is all kind of meshed together to kind of have a zero balance. But go ahead, Joel.
So within the last 12 months of charging the buses, it's been around $9,000 to $10,000. We budgeted about 15 to be safe, but we obviously anticipate that there'll be some savings if we're not running the buses. We've also discovered that since last February, the delivery charges from CMP have gone up $1,800 a month, which is a total of $22,000 over an annual budget. That's created some issues this year that we've been able to cover, but we are certainly making some moves with some other things to make sure that we can cover that for next year. I also have confirmed that we do have a locked-in rate until 27, so that's, IDA was actually able to discover that it was the delivery fee, and I've given that information to CMP to have them review to make sure that we're getting the best possible deal. It was kind of like, we're a school year, can you help us out a little bit? And I haven't heard back yet. So, not doing the rules, I think we'll be okay, but certainly something we didn't see coming, and I'm glad we caught it at the time.
Yeah,
So-
thank you for your due diligence with that, and
Sure.
for IDA too. Does the board have any questions, follow-up questions regarding that? Okay.
Those, I will say, those will be the discussions that you'll want to put in the back of your head when you're told to come back at zero. It's just absolutely impossible. So,
You had requested to have the budget separate with the 2 teachers added back in. Did you want to? Yes.
Yeah, and we have to have that discussion. Kind of wanted at just such a high percent. But I think we should push for it. I think we talked in the finance meeting today. We're going to compare ourselves to everybody else. And we are still the 10% increase lower for people. So we really got to keep pushing to being on par with the other people around us. If we ever want to compete or whatnot.
Oh, sorry, Monica. I didn't see you.
Yes, this is what I want to say about that. If you don't ask for what you want, you don't get it. Okay? This is our first ask. I know it's but I also remember when Lori Smale came to us, and I had no idea that we were down so many teachers. And you lose teachers, and then getting them back, if your numbers come up, can prove to be problematic. Because, and again, you face like, why is this increasing? Well, here's why. Because remember a couple of years ago? So if we're able to keep them in, I think it's really important, despite, I did read the research that you sent me, Dr. Foley, and I was glad to read that. Despite that, I really think that we want to retain our teachers. At least we want to go forward with our first, hopefully only, but our first visit to the town council with this amount. If we need to scale back, that might be something that we look at that time. I say we ask for what?
Just to clarify for those who will be looking at the recording, what you're speaking to is the research that Dr. Foley sent you about class sizes and how those will be impacted.
Yes.
Okay. And second, we did go to the town council first to, Dr. Foley presented a budget that was close to the 9.63, and the town council was not supportive of that. So this would be a change, an increase.
Did they give reasons?
So some reasons were specifically about how we would, maybe I should let you speak to that because you presented, but specifically there were some concerns about credit recovery services for our students, increase in taxes. There was a lot of discussion.
They didn't actually vote on it, but there were people that there were councilmen that said that they wouldn't be able to support that. But they did do a straw for that. But it was, yes, one person didn't feel like the interventionist at the high school was the way to go to improving the student achievement there. And then for others, it was just, a very large increase.
But, okay. So surely they're concerned about our student achievement as we are. So they expressed concern about credit recovery. I don't understand.
It was just, I think, and I've since stopped labeling it as credit recovery because it sounds like we're waiting until the students have totally failed to try to help them and that particular person. And, I hate to speak for somebody else, but what I heard the person say is that, they felt like individual classroom teachers should be reaching out to those students. And so I think when I present to the council, I can offer more data around how important it is to have interventionists at every school, that you can also see that in Hattie's research that the effect size of implementing response to intervention well produces good, very substantial gains. And so this would not be, and I don't know if Jay is on the Zoom, whether you can see that.
Yes.
But I think that he could, yes, he said he is there. So I think I would like to have him also speak to that. But this isn't just for after a student fails. This is when a high school teacher sees that the student is struggling, and so before the failed course, this would be an opportunity for this staff member to work with those students. But I might not have spoken to it well enough on that particular night, so I'll revisit that when we present to the council. And Principal Dufour, if you're on, could you also add to that?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you folks hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, the connection, I'm on my phone, and the connection is not very good here, so I apologize if you can't hear me very well. But so to speak to the interventionist a little bit, so we really want this position to take a proactive approach with students, as Dr. Foley said. Sort of two prongs, if you will, to really identify the students that are behind and may need some makeup or to retake some courses, but also to kind of catch them in the moment before they fall too far behind and to proactively get them back on track. And that's what the staff member is hopefully going to do if we were able to get this in the budget. That's why I like to refer to them as a graduation coach, very similar to how a coach will coach up their kids and really, lift them up, lift up their academic game, if you will, to make sure that these kids we're netting them before they get to the point where they have to do credit recovery, if you will. Dr. Foley, did I say that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Monica, your question?
I'm wondering if administrators will be present at that town hall meeting to answer questions if they like. And I think it would be really good to go in prepared with some of that research. I'm also wondering what avenues do we have to get the message out to make this about real people. People can understand, when it's connected with real people, people can understand. I was at our Hanford not long ago and ran into one of my former students. He came up to me with a bright smile, "Hi, Mrs. McLaughlin." And I said, "How are you doing and how's school?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not in school anymore." And he shared with me a personal event in his family life, and but I'm going to go through adult ed, and it just broke my heart. It just broke my heart. I think we need to have stories be identified, stories of the effects, the real effects on our real kids if we don't step up to the plate.
Thank you, Monica.
Just have a quick question. Dr. Foley, I'm sure that you did, but I just wanted to confirm that in your conversations when you presented it to the council that you had called out that there hadn't been much, our history of increases were very low, which is also a factor in the fact that it is spiking significantly. I mean, that along with inflation is a low point to create a bit of a jump that nobody really wants to see, but it is kind of necessary.
Yes, I did the same presentation that I had given to you with, I think the chart was in there showing the increases.
Question, any of the board? Points, questions, comments?
We also discussed, I think it hits home, even though we're not asking for a new budget this year, $200, did that number, $200 a year for supplies. And I think if someone really hears that, it's like $20 a month. $20 a month, the teacher class, which is, if someone actually hears that number, then we really, that's what the budget's going to look like next year. So we're really not asking for much. So, I mean, we're throwing those things at them. I think will make a difference.
And it was $20 per, for that teacher per class. The teacher also teaches several classes too, so it's broken up even smaller.
Well, at the elementary school, they're not teaching several classes.
Oh, right.
For- for-
At the elementary school,
But I think at the middle school, they're teaching several classes.
I don't know anybody that isn't feeling financial pinch in these times, you know. I don't want my taxes to go up. Of course I don't, you know, I'm pulled in other ways as well. But because things are tight all around, prices go up for the school too. I mean, we've heard what Joel had to say about the delivery rates for CUP. You see this in a myriad of invisible ways that drive our costs up. Just to reiterate, I think we ask for what we want.
We had asked, the board had asked if there were to be something put on the website, kind of showing snippets of your presentation. I wondered if we should go back to that, and that would be something that we could send out to let the community know, this is on the website, we want you to take a look at it. These are the reasons why, the main reasons why our budget has been impacted so greatly. I think, Monica, that was your idea.
It was, if I may speak to it. I wonder, Tiff, if there are any of your, I know you've got some students that are doing some really awesome video work. I'm wondering if you have any students who would be willing to do video of Dr. Foley's presentation on that. I think it would be a terrific way to support our school.
And just clarifying, I think you might have said you had asked the administrators to be at the town council, not the town meeting, correct? Or whatever, the community forum. They are going to be at the community forum, but
Oh, I know that, but I meant the town council where we're
on
presenting.
Monday, the 31st. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. I mean, really looking at this graph, the 1.7% increase, the 2.4, the 1.8, the 1.0, and then we had a negative, so extra taxes went down, 3.2, 2.0. It has not, comparing that to, how does that compare to other districts? I mean, are other districts as low as that across the board?
So the numbers you're reading there are the inflation rates. So we don't have the numbers on there for the budget increases, but we could do that. But I think what you're seeing in the graph is that many of those years, especially FY '22, where inflation went up 5.40, the budget ask was like negative, I think, from read out here. So I don't know how that compares to districts around us. I can tell you that I'm not used to seeing in my previous districts budgets with that low of an increase.
Well, I guess the important thing that it's showing is that we haven't been keeping up with inflation.
Exactly.
And that's why I've been saying this for years, pure pupil. Just a mile down the road, Wheatfield, they're getting $2,800 more per kid educated in Wheatfield. I think that's embarrassing.
Did you say 20?
Yeah, per kid.
For
They
school, for
spend
class?
more per kid. Just, Wheatfield.
Wow.
So I mean, I think for one thing, that's embarrassing. I mean, I think we've just been so low for so long that it looks like these are high percentages in on. If Wheatfield can spend that kind of money, I think Winthrop can.
Retail is smaller, right?
Orono's, they spend like, what, 7,000 more per fall?
I think that,
Same size school.
Right.
Milo, economically is not as high as Winthrop. They spend 3,000 more per kid. So I mean, it's think we've been so low, it looks like every time we ask for an increase, it looks like this, but even with this 10% increase, we're still low.
Did you want to look at that? That was from the finance committee, but you were welcome to take a peek at it.
Sure.
That's the cost per pupil.
Right. I think we all show up with our data like that, like what you have. It's very persuasive. It's data. It is what it is. And you make our case. And maybe we should think about, who takes each bit of it. But I think that we need to stand strong as a school board and present what we want and why we're asking for it very clearly.
I think your number is right. We're up here trying to do math, and Alicia was just saying she'd rather have Megan up here rather than me. That's not exactly what she said, but we are checking the math, and I do think the difference of the two teachers, just from when I reinstated it, I think it is about $148,000 that we're talking about.
So $148,217 is the difference between the 10.72% budget increase and the 9.63.
Yes. I think that's a little bit over 1%, and what we used to come up with that number were the two teachers that we kind of predicted that would be impacted. So I know that you probably are remembering, which is why you're wondering about the math, is that when we don't know who the teacher is, if we're budgeting for a new teacher, like the drama teacher at the high school, we're budgeting at a master's 10 plus full family so that we make sure we have enough money in there. And a master's 10 is really kind of the middle of a career teacher, and that puts off, I think, a little over 90,000.
Okay, thank you. It just seems like out of the, close to, depending on what you're looking at, the FY25, your budget or the FY26 budget, $148,217 seems pretty small compared to 13 million or 14 million, or 14 or 15 million if you round up. I can get on board with supporting the two teachers. I just am not confident that the town council is going to.
And again, I think, I'll make a stink, but just, I think we need to make a statement. Again, are we going to, is this town going to continue to support this type of funding compared to everybody else?
I think my frustrating thing is, the administration, Dr. Foley, the school board teachers, support staff, there's been some really great changes to be made with the RIT committee, the dropout prevention committee. There's proactive things happening. And I know the town council discussion was, oh, well, our test scores aren't great. But I was feeling frustrated because, you know, we have been making these changes and obviously we're not going to see those results immediately. We need to give, you know, opportunity for those changes to have impact. And I'm hoping that over the next year, we'll start to see some of those improvements and some of those gaps close. It's just frustrating when the data that we have is more reflective in the past.
So was the comments that the test results weren't great, so we're the school?
Well, that's basically exactly what it was. Well, we're throwing more money. This was one of the comments. Throwing more money at something that's not working is like insanity or something. I think the comment was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Certainly withdrawing resources is not going to improve our students' achievements.
Yeah, and that was, you know, when Tim and I and Dr. Foley were at Finance Committee today, you know, my thing is we have a high school right now with science and labs, and their resources are so few that the kids are not getting the hands-on experience that I had as a high schooler. We got to do more. You know, we had science fairs, and so I would love, and I know field trips used to be a big thing. We just don't have the impact of the frozen, you know, we don't have the funds with the frozen budget. There are a lot of kids that need the hands-on to support what they're learning in the books. How are we feeling about proposing the 10.72 increase? We know how you're feeling.
I'm feeling
And Monica. And yes, please, Joseph, let's hear it.
I just really think that it's important, not so much like, well, obviously, I'm on board with this. But like, it's one thing if we get it or not, right? Overall, make a great something, but like, I think a real culture shift has to happen, where if we consistently as a board and as a town push that we want more like support and more funds and more resources, we can't expect the whole town to switch up overnight that, 20%, let's catch up all the other schools. As nice as that would be, and as much logic as that seems sometimes, I think a slow, like, we need to make a culture shift before we actually do that. So I think a united front is important here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. Will there be a blast sent out from the town and the school letting folks know about the community forum?
Oh, I think we have it out there. I don't think we're planning on doing a robocall. I'm pretty sensitive about sending those. I think it's been on Facebook. I think I just saw Lori's newsletter. I know it's in there. I think that Colleen has sent it out through the town. I know I've announced it time and time again. So I'm not sure if you have other thoughts. We're happy to do that, but I'm kind of sensitive about the robocalls.
I guess what I'm worried about is last year we had to go back to the taxpayer to get the vote because the vote didn't pass. And that costs, elections cost money. And I know that we're taking a proactive approach by having the community forum and providing opportunities here with really good data. That's different than last year. Presentations, the administrator presentations were very good and helpful to the board. But
I guess I'm seeking clarification. Was the vote, did the taxpayers vote it down or just the town council?
It's just the town council.
Yeah.
But because they voted it down, it had to go to the people, right?
No.
It would have gone
We
out.
didn't do a special election because we didn't hit the date and time.
That's what it was, yes.
That's
No,
right.
it always has to go to a referendum vote.
That's right, thanks for
Ultimately.
refreshing my memory. Okay.
So then is there a drawback to putting forward something that would, something higher?
Now, what would be so what is the thing about the days, the certain amount of days that we need?
I don't have that memorized. No, but I just do know that we have to have it, the town has to vote on it by a certain time.
Right.
So if we don't get the council to vote on it,
Yeah.
approve it, then we just can't get it out in time.
That's
Right,
correct.
so do we know that time, is what I'm wondering. So what's the date?
I don't remember.
Anthony?
So I don't think the date is as important as on the 31st. You know, I think we'll need a clear signal from what the council wants, whether
Okay.
they can push this forward. Because then if they can't, then what we need is time to quickly come back to the board, present a different budget, have you adopt that budget, and then get that back before the referendum vote, which is in the beginning of June. And I think if I could have Megan look it up on the website, I know that it's in the district budget calendar. So if you go to Winthrop Public Schools, and then you go to budget, and you go to 25-26, I think there's a link right there that said, if you click on that, the first thing on there, I think, is the budget calendar.
And what date are we looking for?
We're looking for the one in June, the referendum vote. The 10th?
Yeah, that's right.
June 10th is the date that currently, and I know that, you know, they need time to prep the ballot. So you do need, you know, I mean, I think that has to probably be done by, did it say when the council will probably vote on it? June 2nd?
That's what it says. My assumption is that's probably the latest date possible.
Okay. And I think that I got that date from the town, but I can definitely check on that.
Thank you.
So is timing, is it fair to say that timing is the biggest concern with trying to put something forward higher? Because then we could be in a more precarious position with our budget being approved.
Time. Presents this March 31st. We're not able to sell it. And the time comes after 30.
We may have to relent, I mean, if it comes down to the wire, but, I mean, keep pushing, wheeling and dealing the best we can.
Don't relent before you ask.
Okay, so how's the board feeling about the 10.72, presenting that to the town council for 31st?
I'm not savvy enough on the timing. So what, does that leave us plenty of time if on the 31st it's completely shut down and back to the drawing board with the number that they have in mind? Is there enough time to rework a new
Well,
budget?
I think it really isn't I guess it would depend on what they're signaling.
Mhm.
So if the signal is, no, that's too high, but I saw the superintendent's budget, whatever, 9.63, then there's really no reworking of it.
Okay.
And so it would be just a matter of us putting it back on the agenda in April and then voting on that. And so I've never done the town council, so this is new learning for me, but I'm assuming that, I don't know whether they want me to present again, probably. So I wasn't here last year to know what happened where the time got so crunched, right? Because I think my budget timeline is similar when I'm presenting to you guys as it was last year. So I don't know what created that time crunch.
Monica, both Ivy and I refused to support the budget, and so the board was split on that. And the reason we refused is because we were not getting any clear data on what was going on with transportation. So we were holding out for that, and we kept getting put off week after week, and then we got deeper and deeper into the calendar.
Okay. So it was like, once it was presented, it was like, no, we need more information, and then it was, it wasn't like at the next board meeting, you had a different budget to vote on.
No, we'll talk about it at the next board meeting. The next board meeting came, I don't have those numbers, let's put it on to the next. And that happened 3 or 4 times, so it really got deep into the calendar.
So with that information, I guess I would believe that you would have time.
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 months until then, and they meet twice a week? A month, I'm sorry, twice a month. So I think we have plenty of time.
Well, then it seems like a candidate has putting forward the
Okay.
yearly 11%.
Okay, that's fair. A motion is not on this agenda, but I can certainly make one so we can take action at this time. So I'll entertain a motion to adopt the FY26 budget.
I would say board requested budget.
Board requested budget. Thank you.
So moved.
Seconded.
And all those in favor? Okay, thank you. That's unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so heading into the second portion of our old business, 5.2, I'll entertain a motion to approve the following policies for second reading: ADF, commitment to learning results, and EEAA-R, the drug and alcohol testing of school bus driver admin procedures.
So moved.
Seconded.
And discussion?
No, because this is the second.
Oh, it's the second.
So I presented last time unless there are additional questions.
Any questions on what's in your packet? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Winthrop Public Schools 2025 to 2026 school calendar.
So moved.
Seconded.
And this was presented last time, so unless you have additional questions, I have no further information.
Okay, board? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, we took care of our new business when we shifted that around for the grade school principal approval. So at this time, we'll open up our meeting to public comments. If there are folks in the room who would like to get up and speak, we can certainly have that.
We did receive a direct message on Zoom. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Megan, do you want to read it, or is it someone wanting to speak?
The direct message received from Zoom is the town council meeting on March 31st open to all residents? And if yes, please encourage all to attend.
So it definitely, just like board meetings, it is open to all residents.
Yes. Okay. Anyone on Zoom? Anyone else?
What time is the meeting?
6.
Yes, the meeting's at 6, and we will be presenting first. Thank you.
Monica?
And we do encourage everyone to attend.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other public comments, we will head into item 8 for school board comments. Monica?
I have a quick question, and that is, do we know when the next dropout prevention committee meeting is?
I do not have that off the top of my head. Jay, if you're still on Zoom, do you know when the next dropout prevention committee is? Maybe in May.
We can always.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
It's in May, and let me look at, I'll look for the exact date, and I'll make, Dr. Foley, I'll send you a text.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, any other school board comments? Oh, Lori?
It's, May 5th is the next
Thank
dropout committee meeting.
May 5th.
Do we need a time for you?
Yes. It's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other school board comments, we will begin our executive session once those who have been invited to attend remain here, and those who have not been invited to attend, no.
Do you want to know if there will be action afterwards?
I think
There will be action.
There will be, we think.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve to employ Colleen Sousa, Director of Transportation, as recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Seconded. And all those in favor? Okay. Thank you for your unanimous vote. Okay, without objection, I